You're watching SKST Radio.
Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you are tuned in to SKST number one hit podcast, one-on-one entertainment with Cammie Grayson and friends. And my friend today is James Suttle, director, producer. I am so excited to have James here on the show today. James, welcome to the show.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, Cammie. I really appreciate it.
Well, okay, so you know that I'm so excited. I've seen the movie. I cannot give it away, but we got to talk about this movie. So the movie is The Nest, and this movie is packed with stars. You know, it's a couple of stars that I absolutely love that's in this movie. So, James, first of all, tell us about you and how you got started producing and directing.
You know, I've been doing this my entire life. When I was like 14, I was an extra in this movie called Heavyweights, which was a Disney film back in the 90s with Ben Stiller. And I didn't know you could make a living making movies. And I got paid for 20 days and I got pulled out of school. And so I thought it was like the perfect career for me. So
Wow.
I haven't been doing anything different since. It's all I know to do and it's all I know how to do. So I'm stuck in it. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in it. Now I own a studio. We own a rental house. I try to produce about one film a year, which is a tough undertaking, but I try to keep going as much as I can. So that's the quick version.
Wow. Well, that's exciting, though. So, what about your support? What got you where you are? Did you have a lot of supportive family members, or did you do this on your own? How did you get there?
Well, you know, I mean, my family's always been supportive, but it's, you know, I've been doing this for 21 years. I might be dating myself a little bit there, but I've been doing this a long time. And really, it's just pushing through and just not giving up, I guess, is kind of part of it. You know, I started out when I was 18. I started my first company producing content for clients. And then about 5 years later, I started shooting features and as a director of photography. And I did that up until I still work as a cinematographer quite often. But about 6 years ago, I started producing my own content because that's always the dream. Everybody that gets into this, you want to be telling your stories, making your films. And so I just decided I was tired of waiting and just started raising money and doing my own projects. Wow.
So did it take a lot before someone actually opened up the door for you to actually start getting out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, everybody's path is different. And networking is kind of key to it. This business is very much networking. It's not as much, I mean, your resume is important. The education is important because you got to know what you're doing when you arrive, but the education is not a prerequisite of whether or not you get the job. But education is a great place to network. So some of it's luck, who you meet, who you know, and it takes time. You just got to put your head down and just keep pushing forward and hoping you're meeting the right people and make the right connections to pull a project off.
Wow. Well, I tell you, I'm excited and anxious for the audience to see the trailer. So do you mind if we show the trailer right now?
No, go for it. That'd be great.
Okay. So let's see if we're going to guide this through. We're going to see if we can make this happen. I'm a little rusty when it comes to this, so. We there? Hang on.
Hey, careful, please. I had one like this when I was a little girl.
Meg, why don't you want to be at school today?
She's so attached to me now, and she's still so attached to her bear.
Sorry, Daddy.
You know, I noticed Ricky because I had a bear just like him when I was your age.
Did you talk to him?
Yoo-hoo!
Night, let the bed bugs bite.
Dee Wallace is the best. Oh my gosh. That was so creepy.
That face.
It's I love horror films because they kind of the genre opens up to tell any type of story you want to. And the beauty part about this is that we were able to tell a story. Jennifer Treedrun is the writer of the film, and she had crafted a screenplay that I just really got attached to when I first read it because it dealt with a lot of things that I deal with as a parent. And she's a parent. I have 4 kids. She has 2 girls. And a lot of what she drew from and what I drew from for this film was very much our experiences as parents. And so a lot of the influence, a lot of things that happen that are creepy are real experiences that we've had with our own kids. So, yeah. so that's a lot of the inspiration for the movie. But yeah.
Well, you know what? The little girl was so sweet and she loved her mom so much, throughout the whole thing. Even when she was transformed, she still loved her mom. And I thought that was so cool.
So a lot of what it comes from is the concept of separation anxiety that children sometimes get. Jennifer had experience with that in the past. And to a certain extent, I've had that experience too with my daughter. And so that was part of the influence, and that just the idea that your child can love you so much and never want you to go anywhere. And then we kind of added the horror aspect of it and kind of took that a little further. I think worked really well. I'm super stoked and really love what we created with this film.
Yeah. Oh, I'm your number 1 fan now. Tell us about Dee Wallace. How was it working with her on set?
So I absolutely love Dee. So I've been doing films, like I said, about 1 a year for the past couple of years, 3 or 4 years now. And I have a list of actors that I want to work with. And a lot of them are throwback actors from my childhood, the 80s, right?
Exactly.
And Dee everyone knows Dee's the quintessential 80s mom, right? But she's done that so much. And when I got this script and we started working on it, we started developing this character, and we kind of had her in mind. And my executive producer, Jennifer Ray, brought her name up and like, yes, that's perfect. Let's go for it. She came on. She was excited first because it wasn't a mother. She wasn't playing a mom, right?
Right.
When she arrived, she was 100%. I mean, she is a dedicated craftsman, and she gives her all, 110% in every scene. And even we were a low budget film. We didn't have a lot of the creature comforts that we sometimes like to have on film sets, but she didn't care. She was still there to 100% do what we needed to get done. And she brought a level of quality and a level of acting to her role that is more than what was on the page.
Wow.
So anyway, I can't sing her graces enough, but yeah, she's absolutely fantastic. And it was definitely a dream come true working with her.
Nice. So how did you pick the cast? What was it, a hard process?
Yeah, casting to me, when I'm directing a film, casting is the most difficult because I feel like casting is 50%, 60% of the job as a director. Because if the acting doesn't work, then the movie doesn't work. You can have the most beautiful film, you can have the best visual effects possible. You can even have the absolute best screenplay, but if the acting doesn't work, then the film falters and no one believes it, right? No one believes the characters.
Right.
So that process is really intense. We saw for Meg, the little girl, we saw about 40 something in studio. I don't even know the number that we saw in video submissions before that. Mm-hmm. And then with the mother, the secret with Sarah is she was one of the first, I want to say maybe 15 that came in. And when she auditioned, the second she left the studio, I was like, she's it. She's perfect. And everybody that was there was like, yes, yes, yes. And it's funny because after we cast her, she finally told me that when she left, she thought she had just bombed. Thought it was the worst possible. And she's from Atlanta, and we're based in Asheville, North Carolina. So it's about a 4-hour drive or something. So, that was a long drive to go back thinking you had bombed, right?
Right.
And then Kevin Patrick Murphy he's an actor he lives here in West North Carolina. And I had never worked with him. And everyone kept mentioning him. And we had cast Meg and we had cast Beth. And it was like, okay, with that last piece of the puzzle, the dad, we needed to find him. We were struggling. And finally, Patrick came in and just nailed it. And he has such a unique look. And in the film, when the dad turns, and we'll let the audience find out what that is,
Yeah.
he was just ideal and perfect for it, because he just nailed. He had this oddness and awkwardness to him that just, it was so subtle but so brilliant at the same time.
Yeah, it reminded me of the first guy at the garage sale.
Yeah. And that is an old. So when we produce movies here, there's a lot of familiar faces that come in, and so the old man at the yard sale is actually a good friend of mine who's done 3 or 4 films with me.
Wow.
Blake Fowler. So there was not even a casting of him. I just got him and said, hey, he normally has a big white beard. And I said, I got a role for you, but I need you to shave the beard. And he's like, I don't know. But he did it. So, but yeah, and to kind of round out the casting, I mean, the little girl that plays the daughter is actually my daughter. I ended up casting my own daughter.
Oh, nice.
Which was a hard decision to do, honestly, because it's like, there's that sort of that reputation that goes along with that. But there was just no one else that nailed it. It's just, she kept coming to the top of the list. And it wasn't just my list. It was the executive producer and the other producers involved. And she's just, what I really wanted was a kid that wasn't self-aware yet, and she was 8 at the time, and she just wasn't self-aware. And so it just, everything that she did came across as just genuine and honest. And I think that's really what worked for the film.
Well, let me ask you this now that we know that was your daughter. How does she, in her personal life, match the role of Megs?
She is a lot different. She's more like the kid in the yard sale sequence, the first 8 or 9 minutes of the movie. She's just bubbly. She's a gymnast. She's always tumbling and rolling around on things. She's funny. She's a kid, she's a bubbly kid. So what you see with her when she gets into that deeper, darker kind of role that Meg turns into in the latter half of the film, that was purely talent. I mean, she
nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, she found a way to kind of channel that. And sometimes when you're working with kids, you have to kind of manipulate in a way, and you kind of tell them not necessarily what is happening, but you tell them what they need to know, right? To be able to give you what you need. Her, most of the time, it was a conversation of, Maple, this is what's happening. Dad's getting ready to be taken over. This, whatever the scenario was, she could internalize that, figure it out, and then she was acting. Now, she was wild. She was rambunctious right before I'd call action, but the second I called action, she was just in the game. And so she'd go from yelling and begging for candy to that serious, quiet Meg.
Nice.
Turn on a dime. So she impressed me, which I guess is not hard to do as her father, but I think she really earned her badges, I guess, in her delivery.
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about how COVID affected your filmmaking. Did it stop you in any kind of way?
So we actually wrapped production about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the shutdown. So this was early March. So we wrapped in early March of 2020. So we just got lucky. We got it finished right before COVID hit. But what it did do is it affected post-production. We, as soon as the shutdown happened, we kind of put a pause on things. I think it was about 5 weeks that we held off on editing and post-production. Normally we can turn these things very fast. It's part of my business model, and that's part of how we make these things for as cheap as they are. But we decided to take a pause, and we put some client work in front of it because we didn't know what was going to happen, right?
Right.
And then about, I guess it was the end of April, we picked back up and finished out post, I think sometime in September, I believe, if that's correct, September 2020. So we got really lucky. COVID didn't harm us. This is a pre-COVID movie, a lot of ways, by literally probably 10 days.
Nice. Well, let me ask you this: what's your next project? I mean, did that impact your next project?
It did, yeah. It's like I said before, I've been producing one of these films a year, and so normally I would have already shot another film at this point. I usually shoot in January, February, March. And we do that because that's when crew are sort of on downtime for bigger productions. With COVID, I just kind of, with the restrictions on production, I just can't, I don't want to afford the cost of some of those things. I mean, there's a business decision in that. But also, I found myself after making The Nest, because I'm particularly proud of this movie. This is very much the type of movie that I would want to watch when I sit down at night, you know? And so this is the first time in probably the better part of a decade, if not longer, that I haven't had a concept or a movie that I want to do next. So I'm kind of at this weird transition point professionally. I'm trying to figure out the next step. I don't know what the next movie is.
Okay. Well, that's fair. You know, you got time to sort it out. You know, get this movie out there and get, you know, let it do what it do. You know, it's great. It's a great movie. And so I encourage people to really look at it, you know.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it very much is one of those things. I believe things happen when they are supposed to happen. And it's just like when Jennifer Trudren first gave me the script. It was like I was kind of in a similar place. I just finished a movie. I was looking for the next one that I was going to direct. And she leases a cubicle from our studio here, and that's where she writes. And I just walked by her and I said, Jennifer, you don't by chance have any feature scripts that you think I'd like? And she's like, well, in fact, I have one. And that was The Nest.
Wow.
So yeah, I kind of believe that, you know, when it's the right time, the right project will pop up.
Right. Well, I'm very excited for you guys, and I'm excited that you guys were able to make it happen for us, and you know, at this time. So now, how do people see the movie? How do we get that movie out there so people can see it?
Yeah, so we're actually available right now. We came out July 6th for a 2-week exclusive with Redbox, which is in the independent film world, that's huge for us. We got incredibly lucky with that. But July 20th, so next Tuesday, July 20th, we have our wider release where we'll be available at Walmart on DVD. We'll be in all the Walmart stores, available on Amazon on DVD as well, Target, Best Buy. We'll be available for through satellite, through DirecTV, Dish, Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, and I think Shaw maybe in Canada is another one. And then you'll be able to stream us on Apple iTunes, Apple TV, Amazon, Vudu, Google, Redbox, on demand, and then Fandango now. So we're hitting them all. And then August 16th we come out in the UK. So we also have we have the releases elsewhere, and then we just sold rights to Germany and Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. So we're slowly, the infection's slowly spreading.
I love it. Teddy bear by teddy bear, huh?
That's right. That's the scariest thing ever.
Nice. Well, I want to let you know that we do appreciate you being on the show. We look forward to your next project, and we want to have you back on the show. And thank you for sharing. I do have one more question before we go. How can you inspire someone else? So if it's a person that's interested in doing what you do, how would you inspire them?
You know, I would go back when I was younger. Just do it. You don't let anybody tell you can't, and you don't let the obstacles that you put in front of yourself, which is usually I don't know how to do this, I don't know where to start. You just do it. You just pick up a camera. If you want to be a filmmaker, pick up a camera and start shooting, and start finding small shoots and just get out there and working for free at first, and then you'll get your first paid job, and you just keep going. If you don't try, you'll never succeed. So I just say one foot in front of the other and just start doing it. That's what I did. And I'm still doing it 21 years later, I guess.
Well, we're glad you're still doing it. We're glad you stayed and you kept going, and just keep on going. That's my suggestion. Keep going. I'm actually going to look at the movie again, you know, because it's good. So
we love that. That's awesome.
So we'll have everyone give you your review. We'll have them go to YouTube and review it as well, to let people know that it is a great movie. I got maybe 3 emails today going, oh, this movie is fantastic. So, and then of course, Destiny just started today, and Destiny's like, oh, I like that movie. So, you know, it's good. You guys did a great job.
Well, the key to it, and it's the thing that I'm always wanting to make sure that people are aware, like it's a horror film, and it's got bugs in it, but there's a deeper story to it too. It's really a family drama. So to me, it's got a lot more. It's like an onion. It's got a lot of layers, even though it's got a bunch of bugs.
You got a lot of bugs, a lot of bugs. Okay, well, thank you again for being on the show. You guys, welcome. Thank you, Mr. James, for being a part of the show today. And hopefully, we'll see you again soon. Keep up the good work. Until next week, everyone, same time, same channel, SKST Radio 101 Entertainment with Cammie Grayson. Bye for now.